Dive, dive, dive.
Oh, my father was the keeper of the Eddystone Light. He married a mermaid one fine night. From this union there came three, a porpoise and a porgy, and the other was me. Yo-ho-ho, the wind blows free. Oh, for a life on the rolling sea.
That's completely idiotic.
One night when I was a trimming of the glim, singing a verse from the evening hymn, a voice from the starboard shouted, ahoy! And there was mother sitting on the buoy.
Yo-ho-ho, the wind blows free. Oh, for a life on the rolling sea.
That girl will rain destruction down on you and your ship.
Then the phosphorus flashed in her seaweed hair. I looked again, and my mother wasn't there. A voice came echoing out of the night.
To hell with the keeper of the Eddystone Light.
Yo-ho-ho, the wind blows free. Oh, for a life on the rolling sea.
She is an albatross.
Yo-ho, 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 yo-ho.
This is the world's first radio show devoted to diving. I am Greg the Dive Master. Okay, so we've been diving deeper with some regular guests on the show over the years. There's been quite a few of them, but every once in a while, if you're just driving by and you're hearing a clip here and there, you may not know the background of some of these folks that we have on the show, which brings us to our next one. Alex Brylske, who pretty much wrote the book on diving, by the way. I remember when I got certified, especially for my Dive Master class, it was a diving encyclopedia. This thing was as thick as a brick, and Alex was the guy who put this thing together. I mean, and literally, it was considered like the book of diving. And anyway, Alex is with us. How you doing, Alex? What's going on?
I'm doing great. Always a pleasure to be with you, sir.
Yes. Well, and you keep on writing books like that,
it's a nasty habit I got into a long time ago.
Right. Yeah, he's been, he's one of the, I don't know if pioneer is the right word, but probably, it fits for you. Do you like that? Or
second generation pioneer?
Okay, I was going to say, he knows a lot of folks that go even farther back, but Alex is a pioneer in his own right, especially when it comes to educating divers around the world with all the books and things that he's written.
Definitely a legend in my own mind.
Well, okay, aren't we all? Yes. But he keeps on doing it. He is his latest book is what is it called again?
It's called Beneath the Blue Planet, A Diver's Guide to the Ocean.
Yeah, and the idea of this book is to how to dive responsibly, in a sense, right? To help the planet?
Exactly. It's I put it together for several reasons, but bottom line, when I wrote my last book, The Complete Diver, it really wasn't complete in a sense, in that it did not address the environment. It was very comprehensive in terms of diving theory and history and practice. And I always wanted to kind of fill that gap and create a book that delved exclusively into the diving environment, because after all, that's the reason we dive. We don't dive to blow bubbles or collect gear. We dive to experience the environment. Mm-hmm. And so that's really what the book is about. The first 3 quarters really it gets into some pretty reasonable depth about what the ocean is about, how coral reefs operate, sharks, and the kinds of things that I think divers, and particularly professionals, instructors, dive masters, really need to know. And then the last quarter of the book, as you said, is really geared to being responsible. I call it doing the right thing. And I look at issues such as responsible wildlife interaction, responsible consumer choices, as I call them, and then responsible dive practice. Dive professionals do a great job of training people and keeping people safe and entertaining them. But where many fall down is helping their students and their customers connect with the environment. And it's not their fault. It really isn't addressed very well in the instructor training process. And so I'm hoping the book is really going to serve as a knowledge base for professionals so that they have the wherewithal, the repertoire to really understand the environment and, more importantly, communicate that. Because when you get that connection, when a diver connects with the experience, and they really feel like they've had an inspiring experience underwater, facilitated by a professional, that's when we get people in the sport for life. They're not going to drop out.
Yeah, the more the merrier. so to speak. But we want everybody to be responsible and pay it forward. And where you get that information is right here in Alex's book, which, by the way, where's the best place to get it? Where do you go to find this?
Amazon's the easiest. And I would request as well, if you do like the book, please post a review. They tell me it's very helpful with the analytics and the search engine and all that kind of. A good
one. We prefer good reviews, right? That's what we want.
Yeah.
If you have anything negative to say, just keep it to yourself. No, you wouldn't. It's good stuff. I mean, Alex is a pro, and you also do a lot of stuff with the. You're working with the Reef Guide folks now, right?
Indeed. I came aboard last year actually as their director of education. In fact, my book is the first in a series in what they're calling Reef Smart Education. And the idea is to kind of beef up their product line with more content with regard to the ocean. I don't know if you know, but Ian is a graduate level marine biologist himself.
Yeah, I remember.
And so we're going to move even more into marine science content. And above and beyond that, they've launched a whole different component of the business called resort services, where we're going to help dive resorts in many ways. We're going to be doing 3D mapping and assisting in their marketing. My role will be to kind of provide training and professional development opportunities for dive resorts. So I'm really excited about that. It's a great bunch of folks. And if you've seen the book, I was just, blown away at the production quality. The book is beautiful. I had nothing to do with.
You don't want to take credit? You should.
I cannot draw to save my life.
Yeah.
Otto Wagner just knocked it out of the park with regard to the design of the book.
Yeah. Well, Reef Guides folks, Ian and their whole crew, they really have done an amazing job with mapping some sites on a level that we haven't seen in the industry before, I don't think. I mean, 3D, and you can look at these slates or just look at the books and the pictures and really have a very good orientation of what you're about to see, whether it's a reef structure or a wreck that they've mapped out in such great detail. So I think that's a good team to be associated with, Alex. Or maybe it's a good move for them to affiliate with you. Because
we're mutual admiration.
All right, we'll go with that. But I've been asking everybody about this on the show today. What got you into diving back in the day? What inspired you?
Well, like many of my generation, Lloyd Bridges and Sea Hunt.
Okay, that's come up a few times for sure.
But also, I grew up on the Chesapeake Bay, and I really, as I tell people, I think I learned to swim before I could walk.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of a natural progression. I was a water kid. I always had a mask and a pair of fins. And when I was 13 or 14 years old, I cajoled my dad into buying me a scuba unit. I don't know, for some of your older listeners, there used to be a well-known mail order company up in New York, Honest Archie Central Skin Divers. And for $80, my dad bought me a Healthways double hose regulator and a tank. And I proceeded to teach myself to scuba dive, as many did back in the 60s.
Yeah. But you and Slate were pretty much in the same, cut from the same cloth in that regard.
I think probably so, indeed. Yeah. But I was smart enough to read every book I could find, so I didn't kill myself. And it didn't hurt that the water was no deeper than 12 feet. So I actually acquired a pretty decent level of skill before I finally got around to getting certified at 16. And by that point, I was hooked. My parents took us to Florida for the first time in 1968. And one August morning, I jumped off the boat onto Sombrero Reef, and it basically was a life-defining experience from that point on. I knew I was going to do something involving the ocean.
There you go. You had your hallelujah diving moment, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
I think every diver has that and can relate to that. When you have that moment, you're like, oh my God, this is what it's all about.
And I think professionals especially can go back to that life-defining event where they said that, hey, this is more than a pastime or just a recreational endeavor. It's really a part of my life.
Well, there you go. Everybody can relate to it, and maybe that inspires a few people checking in today. We appreciate it, Alex.
Hope so.
Alex Brylske. Check him out. Google him online. You'll find a whole list of stuff to read about his diving life for sure. We got more coming up on the world's first radio show devoted to diving.